Princess Zyra spent 3 hours learning human card tricks. Her guard sent message after message demanding she return. The Emperor himself called twice. She ignored them all. This small human fascinated her. He sat cross-legged on the floor of her ship, teaching her something completely useless. Yet she had never concentrated so hard on anything. Your turn, Jack said. Zyra held up a coin, making it vanish and reappear. Her extra joints actually made some tricks easier. She could bend her fingers in ways that created better illusions. Perfect, Jack said. You learn fast. My people have enhanced intelligence, she said. We learn everything fast, but you never learned card tricks before. She considered this. We learn only what has purpose. War science. Power control sounds boring, Jack said. Yes, she agreed, surprising herself. It is boring. Jack stood up and stretched. Want to see my ship? Your ship is primitive, Zyra said, but she was already standing. Exactly. Jack grinned. That makes it interesting. They took her shuttle back. The golden transport ship made the human colony vessel look like trash held together with tape. But Jack walked through his ship with pride. This is where I work, he said, showing her the engine room. Zyra scanned the machinery. This should not function. Half these parts are different ages and technologies. Jack patted a pipe held on with zip ties. That is Betty. She breaks every Tuesday. But I know how to fix her. You named your pipe. Everything works better with a name, Jack said. They walked through the hydroponics bay where Amy Chen grew tomatoes in recycled bottles. The medical bay where Dr. Brown used equipment older than Jack. The schoolroom where 20 children learned from tablets held together with duct tape. Everyone stared at the alien princess walking their halls. But Jack introduced her like she was any visitor. This is Princess Zyra, he would say. She is learning card tricks in the cafeteria. Jack made her try coffee. She held the cup carefully, sniffing the steam. This smells like burned plant matter, she said. Yes, exactly. Jack agreed. That is why we add sugar. She took a sip, and her pupils went wide. The bitter liquid hit her system like electricity. Her species had never discovered caffeine. The chemical rushed through her enhanced blood, making everything sharper. This is poison, she gasped. Delicious poison, Jack corrected. Want some cake too? The chocolate cake nearly killed her. Not literally, but emotionally. Her people ate for nutrition only. They had never invented dessert. The sugar and cocoa created reactions in her brain that 300 years of life had not prepared her for. Why would you make food that serves no nutritional purpose? She asked. Taking another bite, because it tastes good, Jack said. That is not logical. Nope. Jack agreed. Humans are not logical. We are something better. What is better than logic? Happy. Jack said. We are happy. Princess. Zyra had conquered 17 systems. She had led fleets that burned planets. She had never lost a battle. But sitting in a cramped human cafeteria eating cake, she felt something new. She felt happy. Your guards look nervous, Jack observed. 4 Zalari warriors stood by the door. Their armor hummed with weapons ready to fire. They could not understand why their princess sat with the enemy. They think you will kill me, she said. Will you? No, she said, then wondered why I should, but I will not. Jack poured her more coffee. Because we are friends. The Zalari do not have friends. That sounds lonely. It is, she admitted. Hey, sweetie, Jack said gently. You have friends now. The translator struggled with the word sweetie. It came through as small sugar, which made no sense, but the tone carried through warm and kind and caring. Yes, darling, she replied, trying the human word. The humans in the cafeteria gasped. Someone dropped a tray. Princess Zyra had just used an endearment with a maintenance engineer. Jack did not seem to notice the shock around them. Tell me about your world. Zyra found herself talking about things she had never shared. The crystal spires that sang in the wind. The oceans of liquid diamond. The 3 moons that danced across purple skies. But she also talked about the silence. No laughter in Zalari cities. No music except for ceremonies. No children playing because Zalari children trained from birth to be warriors. That is why you are so good at war, Jack said. You have nothing else. She wanted to be angry, but he was right. The Zalari had perfected war and forgotten everything else. Captain, Martinez approached carefully. Your Highness, your guards are requesting you return. Zira stood towering over the humans. I must go. Jack walked her back to the airlock. The Zalari warriors relaxed once she moved away from the humans. Will I see you again? Jack asked. That depends, she said, on what my father decides about your ship. She left, but the taste of coffee lingered. The warmth of being called sweetie stayed with her. The sound of human laughter echoed in her mind. Back on her command ship, she stood before the communication screen. Her father appeared in holographic form, 12 feet tall and glowing with authority. Report, he commanded. The humans pose no threat, Zyra said. Then destroy them. No, Princess Zyra had never said no to the Emperor before. The word hung between them like a blade. You refuse my command. I refuse to destroy something precious, she said. They are primitive insects. They are more advanced than us. The Emperor laughed. How can they be advanced with their breaking ships and simple weapons? They know how to be happy, Zyra said. They make art for joy, not propaganda. They eat food for pleasure, not just fuel. They laugh. Father, when did you last hear a Zalari laugh? Emotions are weakness, the Emperor said. Then we are the weakest species in the galaxy because we have forgotten how to feel. You speak madness, daughter. I speak truth, Zyra said. The humans should be dead. Their ships should not fly. Their colonies should have failed. But they survive through something we cannot understand. Hope and joy and friendship. The Emperor was silent for a long moment. You have been corrupted. Perhaps she agreed. Or perhaps I have been cured. If you protect these humans, you will be exiled. Zyra thought of Jack teaching her card tricks of coffee and cake, of being called sweetie, of having a friend. Then I am exiled, she said. The transmission ended. Zyra stood alone in her command center. Her guards watched her in shock. She had just given up an empire for aliens. She met hours ago, set course for the Aurora. She commanded, Your Highness. One guard said carefully, That is treason. Yes, Zyra agreed. It is also right. The massive Zalari ship turned back toward the tiny human vessel. In the maintenance room, Jack Coleman was fixing Betty the pipe again. He had no idea that the most powerful princess in the galaxy had just chosen friendship over an empire, but he would find out soon enough. Jack Coleman floated in the maintenance tunnel of the colony ship Aurora when the alarm started screaming. The red lights painted everything in shades of blood. He grabbed the nearest rail and pulled himself toward the command deck. Something massive had just appeared on their sensors. Captain Lisa Martinez stood frozen at the main screen. The object was 10 times bigger than their ship. It moved without engines, defying every law of physics. Humans knew. What is that thing? Asked pilot Amy Chen before anyone could answer. The alien ship fired a beam of purple light. The Aurora shook like a toy in a storm. Jack reached the bridge just as the shaking stopped. Everyone waited for death, but nothing happened. They scanned us, Captain Martinez said. Checking the readings. They know everything about us now. The view screen flickered to life. A face appeared that made everyone step back. She looked almost human, but her skin shifted between silver and chrome. Her eyes held 3 pupils, each arranged in a triangle. Long white hair floated around her head like she was underwater. Human, said the alien woman. Her voice came through every speaker at once. You have entered Zalari space. You will surrender or be destroyed. Jack studied her face while others panicked. She was beautiful in a way that hurt to look at. But something in her expression seemed curious, not angry. Like a cat that found a strange new toy. We meant no harm. Captain Martinez said, Our navigation system failed. We will leave immediately. The alien woman tilted her head. Your ship cannot leave, it barely moves at all. How did you even get this far? We have been traveling for 50 years. Jack said, stepping forward. Everyone turned to stare at him. Our families lived and died on this ship, to reach new worlds. The alien woman focused on him. Her 3 pupils rotated studying him. You speak truth, she said, sounding surprised. My scans show your ship is held together by primitive welding and hope. This should not be possible. Jack shrugged. Humans are stubborn. We do impossible things all the time. Send 1 representative to my ship, the alien commanded. You have 1 hour. The screen went dark. Captain Martinez turned to her crew. This is suicide. Whoever goes will not come back. I will go, Jack said. You are a maintenance engineer. Martinez protested. We need someone with diplomatic training, Jack smiled. Do we have any diplomats on board? The captain had no answer to that. They had farmers and engineers and doctors, but no one trained for meeting aliens. Jack was already putting on his best uniform, which was still stained with engine grease. 40 minutes later, Jack stood in the airlock. The alien ship extended a tunnel of light that connected to their hull. He took a deep breath and stepped into the glow. The sensation was like falling up. He landed gently in a room made of curves, no straight lines anywhere. The walls pulsed with soft blue light. The air smelled like cinnamon and electricity. The alien woman waited for him. She stood 8 feet tall. Her armor flowed like mercury around her body. Up close he could see her skin had tiny scales that caught the light. I am Princess Zyra of the Zalari Empire, she said. Who are you? Jack Coleman, he replied. Maintenance engineer. 3rd class. She circled him slowly. You sent a maintenance worker to negotiate for your species. Jack turned to keep facing her. Someone had to come, and I volunteered. Why, she asked. Because I was curious about you. Princess Zyra stopped moving. No one had ever said that to her before. Other species feared the Zalari or tried to fight them or begged for mercy. But curious, that was new. You do not fear death, she observed. Sure I do, Jack said. But I fear missing interesting things. Zyra laughed. It sounded like wind chimes in a storm. My father will want to study your brain before he kills you all. That sounds unpleasant, Jack said. Is there another option? She moved closer. Her breath smelled like mint. Why should the Zalari spare you? Jack thought for a moment. Because you are bored. Her 3 pupils dilated. What did you say? You have been alive for centuries. Jack guessed you have conquered everything you found. Nothing surprises you anymore. But humans confuse you. We should not exist. But we do that. Has to be interesting. Princess Zyra touched his face with 1 long finger. Her skin felt cool and smooth. You are very small and very fragile. Yet you speak to me like an equal. Where I come from. Everyone is equal, Jack said. Even princesses, that is impossible. She said power makes equality. A lie. Jack pulled something from his pocket. Want to see a magic trick? Magic does not exist. He held up a deck of cards. Pick one. Anyone. Zyra had never seen playing cards before. She carefully selected one with her long, short fingers. The 7 of hearts. Jack shuffled the deck with practiced ease, making the cards dance between his hands. Is this your card? He asked, holding up the 7 of hearts. How did you do that? She demanded. Magic. Jack grinned. She snatched the cards from him, studying them with intense focus. These are just printed paper, but you made them do something impossible. He taught her to shuffle. She was clumsy at first, her extra finger joints making it hard, but she learned fast. Soon cards flew between her, hands like water. This is pointless, she said. But she kept practicing. Why do humans waste time on pointless things? Because pointless things are fun? Jack said. Fun is never pointless fun. She repeated like tasting a new word. We have no word for that, then. I feel sorry for you, Jack said. Warriors had challenged her. Leaders had threatened her. But no one had ever pitied Princess Zyra before. You would pity me, she said slowly. I could crush you with 1 hand. But you would never learn another card trick, Jack replied. And that would be sad. She looked at the cards in her hands, then at the strange human who treated the most dangerous being in the galaxy like a normal person. "Teach me another one," she commanded. Jack smiled and pulled out a coin. "How about, I show you how to make this disappear?" The Emperor stayed on the Aurora for 3 days. He was too tall for everything. He hit his head on doorways, slept on the floor, and drank coffee from mixing bowls because the cups were too small. But he stayed. Jack found him in the observation deck, watching stars. The Emperor had conquered those stars but never really looked at them. "They are beautiful," he said. "Always have been." Jack agreed, "But I never saw it before." The Emperor said, "Beauty served no purpose." So I ignored it. Zyra entered carrying a chessboard. Jack had taught her the game, and now she was teaching others. "Father," she said, "want to learn?" The Emperor studied the board. "This is warfare." "No," Jack said. "This is a game that looks like warfare but is really about thinking." The Emperor learned chess quickly but kept trying to add more pieces to his side. "That is cheating," Zyra said. "In real war, I would have more soldiers," the Emperor protested. "But this is not real war," Jack explained. "This is fun." That word again. Fun. The Emperor practiced saying it in different tones, trying to understand. Captain Martinez joined them. She had been terrified of the Emperor at first, but now brought him coffee every morning. "Your Majesty," she said, "we need to discuss something." The Emperor straightened. "What is wrong?" "Nothing is wrong," Martinez said. "But your fleet is making my crew nervous. They await my orders," the Emperor said. "What orders will you give?" Zyra asked. The Emperor moved a chess piece. "I do not know anymore. Everything was clear before war conquest power. Now this. Human has confused me. I am good at that," Jack admitted. The Emperor laughed. It sounded rusty, like machinery that had not been used in centuries. "My empire spans 17 systems," he said. "Every species fears us. We have everything, but we have nothing. You have power," Martinez said. "Power without joy is prison," the Emperor replied. Little Katie ran into the room carrying papers. "Mr. Emperor," she said, "I made you a picture." The Emperor took the drawing. It showed him as a stick figure holding hands with other stick figures. There were hearts drawn everywhere. "We are all friends now," Katie explained. The Emperor studied the child art with the same intensity. He once studied battle plans. "This is me?" he asked. "Yes," Katie said. "You look sad, so I gave you a smile." The child had drawn a huge smile on his face. The Emperor touched his own mouth, realizing he was actually smiling. "Your parents must be proud," he said. Katie shrugged. "They died when I was a baby. But everyone here raises me." The Emperor looked around. The observation deck had filled with humans. They sat in groups talking and laughing. Children played between the adults. Someone had brought food to share. "This is normal for you?" he asked. "This is family," Jack said. Messy and loud and wonderful. The Emperor had grown up in isolation, trained alone, ate alone, ruled alone. He had never seen beings choose to be together just because they wanted to. "My people do not know this feeling," he said. "Then teach them." Zyra suggested. "How can I teach what I just learned?" "Same way we taught you," Jack said, one person at a time. The Emperor made a decision that would change the galaxy. "Open a channel to my fleet," he commanded. The main screen activated, showing dozens of Zalari commanders. "This is your Emperor," he said. "Stand down. All weapons." "But sir, the humans are now under Imperial protection," the Emperor continued. "More than that. They are teachers." "Teachers of what, sir?" the Emperor held up. "Katie's drawing joy," he said. "They teach joy." The commanders looked confused but obeyed. The weapons powered down. The targeting systems went dark. Furthermore, the Emperor said, "All Zalari will spend time with humans, learn their games, drink their coffee, eat their cake." "This is madness," one general said. The Emperor replied, "Madness is conquering the galaxy but never learning to laugh." He turned to Jack. "You would come to my world. Teach my people." Jack looked at Zyra, then at Captain Martinez. We go together, he said. All of us, or none of us. The Emperor nodded. Then bring your ship. We will tow you. Our ship barely flies, Martinez pointed out. Perfect, the Emperor said. My people need to see that strength is not just weapons. Sometimes strength is holding together, when you should fall apart. Over the next month, the Zalari fleet towed the Aurora to their homeworld. The journey should have taken years, but Zalari technology bent space itself. During the trip, more Zalari visited the human ship. They were all confused at first. These beings who conquered galaxies did not understand. Birthday parties. Why celebrate aging? One asked. It brings you closer to death. Exactly, Jack said. That is why we celebrate. We survived another year. The Zalari learned to play music badly. They learned to dance worse. They learned to tell jokes that made no sense, but they learned one. Young Zalari warrior named Zex became obsessed with cooking. He had never tasted flavor before, just nutrition. When he made his first successful pizza, he cried. It is beautiful, he sobbed, holding the pizza like a baby. It is just bread and cheese, Amy said. No, Zex insisted, it is art you can eat. The Emperor watched his people change. Some generals protested. They said emotions would make the Zalari weak. The Emperor asked them to play chess with Jack. Jack beat them all, not because he was smarter, but because he was unpredictable. He sacrificed pieces they would never sacrifice. He took risks they would never take. You play without fear of losing. Jack explained, but losing is failure. They said, losing is learning, Jack. Corrected, I lose all the time. Ask Zyra, she nodded. He loses at everything, but he keeps playing. The generals could not understand choosing to do something you were bad at. But they kept playing chess. And eventually one of them beat Jack. He jumped up, celebrating like he had conquered a planet, see, Jack said. Losing made winning feel better. When they finally reached the Zalari homeworld, the humans gasped. The planet was covered in crystal cities that reached into space. 3 moons danced across the purple sky, just as Zyra had described. But the cities were silent. No music, no laughter, no children playing. It is beautiful, Martinez said, and empty, like a museum. The Emperor agreed. A dead museum. They landed the Aurora in the capital city. Zalari. Citizens gathered to see the primitive ship held together with tape and hope. They expected to laugh at these weak aliens. Instead, they saw their emperor and princess playing cards with a human. They saw warriors learning to juggle. They saw the most powerful beings in the galaxy being silly. Katie ran out first. She saw the tall aliens and waved. Hello, she shouted. We are here to be friends. Zalari. Child stepped forward. He had never seen an alien before. He had never played before. He had trained since birth to be perfect. Want to play tag? Katie asked, what is tag? You run and laugh and try to catch each other. Katie explained why, because it is fun. The Zalari child looked at his parents, then at the Emperor. The Emperor nodded. The child reached out and touched Katie tag. He said, you are it. Katie squealed and chased him. Other children joined Zalari and human running together through the crystal streets. Their laughter echoed off buildings that had been silent for centuries. The Emperor stood, with Jack and Zyra watching the children play. This is what we forgot, he said. How to be alive. You never forgot. Jack said, you just needed reminders. Zyra took both their hands, her extra fingers wrapping around theirs. My father and my friend. She said, my family. The Emperor squeezed back. Family, he repeated. Yes, that is a good word. The Aurora shook as the massive Zalari ship docked again. Captain Martinez called everyone to battle stations, but Jack knew something was different. This time the approach was gentle. Princess Zira entered their ship alone. No guards, no weapons. She had to duck through the human-sized doorways. Her silver skin seemed dimmer than before. I need asylum, she said simply. The bridge went silent. Captain Martinez looked at Jack, who stepped forward. What happened, he asked. I chose your friendship over my empire, Zyra said. Now I am exiled. You gave up everything for us. Amy Chen whispered. Not everything. Zyra pulled out the deck of cards Jack had given her. I kept what matters. Jack led her to the small guest quarters. It was basically a closet compared to her palace, but she sat on the narrow bed without complaint. This is all we have, he apologized. It is perfect, she said. How is a closet perfect? Because my friend gave it to me. She said friends. That is a good word. Zyra tried to sleep on the human bed, but kept hitting her head on the ceiling. After an hour, Jack found her sitting in the hallway. Cannot sleep, he asked. Your beds are too small. She said. Also, I do not understand sleep. You do not sleep. Zalari meditate for 2 hours, every 3 days. She explained. We do not dream. Jack sat beside her. Dreams are the best part. What are dreams? Your brain tells you stories while you rest. Jack said. Sometimes they are scary, sometimes beautiful, sometimes just weird. That sounds inefficient. Everything good is inefficient, Jack said. Like friendship, she leaned against the wall. I have made a terrible mistake. No. You made a brave choice. My father will send ships. Zyra said. He will destroy you for corrupting me. Then we better make friends with him too. Jack said that is impossible. He has no feelings left. Everyone has feelings, Jack said. Some people just bury them deeper over the next days. Zyra learned about human life. She helped in the garden, though plants died when she touched them. Her body temperature was too high. She tried to cook, but her sense of taste was too different. She added salt to everything, even coffee. The children were not afraid of her. 8-year-old Katie taught her hopscotch. Zyra could jump 12 feet easily, but she kept trying. To do it the human way, small jumps, careful balance. It was harder than any combat training. You are terrible at this, Katie said honestly. I know, Zyra laughed. Is that not wonderful? The girl looked confused. Why is being bad wonderful? Because it means I can get better, Zyra said. If you are already perfect, nothing changes. Katie considered this with the seriousness only children have. Want to see my drawings? Zyra spent hours looking at crayon pictures of dragons and spaceships and families. Katie drew Zyra as a stick figure with silver skin standing next to other stick figures. That is you with us, Katie explained. We are your family now. Zalari do not have families. Zyra said carefully. That is sad. Katie said, everyone needs family. The child was right. Zyra had been raised by trainers and teachers. She knew her father only as the emperor, not as a parent. She had no siblings, no cousins, no one who cared if she lived or died. Can I keep this? Zyra asked, holding the drawing. Katie nodded and hugged. Her Zyra had never been hugged before. The small arms barely fit around her waist, but something inside her chest cracked open. Feelings she had buried for centuries spilled out. Thank you, she whispered. 3 days later, the Zalari fleet arrived. 20 ships, each one capable of destroying planets. They surrounded the tiny Aurora Surrender. The traitor princess came. The command captain. Martinez looked at Zyra. We cannot fight them. I know, Zyra said. I will go. No, Jack said. We do not give up friends. That is sweet but foolish, Zyra said. Jack turned to Martinez. Can I try something crazy? How crazy? She asked. Very, very crazy. Martinez sighed. You usually are anyway. Go ahead. Jack activated the communication system. This is Jack Coleman. I challenge the Emperor to single combat. The bridge exploded in protests, but Jack continued. By Zalari law, any citizen can challenge for leadership. You are not Zalari, came the reply. Princess Zyra made me honorary. Zalari, Jack said. Ask her. Everyone turned to Zyra, who looked shocked. I did no such thing. You called me darling, Jack said. In front of witnesses. That is a Zalari bonding ritual. That is not what she started, then stopped. It actually was an old law never used because Zalari did not have feelings. But calling someone darling in public was legally binding. The Emperor himself appeared on screen. You dare use our laws against us. I dare to fight for my friend, Jack said, unless you are afraid of a primitive human. The Emperor stood 12 feet tall, made of muscle, and advanced genetics. Jack was 5'8" and had a bad knee. I accept, the Emperor said. You die in 1 hour. Jack turned to Zyra. Teach me to fight. You cannot learn 300 years of combat in 1 hour, she said. Then teach me one good trick. Zyra grabbed him. Your bones are too weak, your muscles too small, you have no chance. I know, Jack said. But I have to try. Why? Because that is what friends do. She taught him one move, just one. A way to use his small size against a larger opponent. It would not work against a trained warrior, but it was all she could do. The arena was set up in the Zalari flagship. Jack stood in the center looking like a child. The Emperor entered in full armor, moving like liquid death. You may strike first, the Emperor said. Jack ran forward and tried Zira's move. The Emperor caught him with one hand, lifting him off the ground. Pathetic, he said. Yeah, Jack gasped. But I had to try, right? The Emperor paused. This human was about to die but showed no fear. Just determination. Hey, sweetie, Jack called out to Zira. I tried, yes, darling. She called back, tears on her silver cheeks. You did. The Emperor looked between them, his daughter crying, the human smiling while being choked. You love her, the Emperor said, surprised. As a friend, Jack managed to say, best friend I ever had. And she loves you. First friend she ever had. Jack said, you should try it. The Emperor dropped Jack, who landed hard but stood back up. You would die for friendship? The Emperor asked. People die for lots of things, Jack said. But yeah, friendship is a good one. The Emperor studied this small creature who stood defiant against impossible odds. He thought of his daughter choosing exile over empire. He thought of 20 human ships that could barely fly crossing the void. Anyway, why do you not despair? The Emperor asked. Because despair is boring. Jack said, hope is more fun, even when you lose. The Emperor removed his helmet, revealing a face much like Zira's, but harder, older, sadder. In 3,000 years no one has made my daughter cry, he said. Sorry, Jack said. The tears are not sadness, the Emperor observed. They are something else, joy. Zyra said they are joy. The Emperor had no word for joy in his vocabulary, but he recognized something in his daughter's face. She looked alive for the first time. You have infected her with humanity, he said. Is that bad? Jack asked. I do not know, the Emperor admitted. That disturbs me. Jack pulled out his deck of cards. Want to learn a card trick while you decide? The Emperor of the Zalari, Empire Master of 17 systems, looked at the playing cards. You would teach me games while I decide your fate. Seems like a good time. Jack said. Deciding is hard. Games make it easier. The Emperor took the cards. His fingers were even longer than Cyrus. Pick a card, Jack said. Any card. The Emperor drew the ace of spades. Now put it back. Jack shuffled with flashy moves. Is this your card? He held up the ace of spades. How the Emperor demanded magic. Jack grinned. Show me again. For the next hour, the Emperor of the Galaxy learned card tricks. His guards watched in horror as their perfect leader sat on the floor with a human practicing making coins disappear. Princess Zira joined them, teaching her father what Jack had taught her. The three of them sat together, aliens and human, making each other laugh. Laughter, the Emperor said. I had forgotten that sound. It is a good sound, Jack said. The Emperor stood and helped Jack up. The whole arena held its breath. The human wins, the Emperor announced. But he did not fight, protested a general. He did something harder, the Emperor said. He made me remember joy. 6 months passed on the Zalari homeworld. The Crystal City transformed from a silent monument into a living place. Music drifted from windows. Cafes opened, serving coffee and cake. Children drew chalk pictures on the perfect streets. Jack stood in the new cultural center, teaching origami to a crowd of Zalari. Their long fingers actually made them excellent at folding paper. They created shapes humans could never achieve. Your turn, Zira, he said. She folded a crane but added her own design. It had 4 wings instead of 2. When she threw it, the paper bird actually flew circles around the room before landing. How did you do that? Everyone asked. I combined human art with Zalari engineering. She said, both better together. The Emperor entered, wearing something no one had seen before, casual clothes. Instead of armor, he wore a simple robe that Amy Chen had made for him. It had pictures of Earth animals all over it. Nice pajamas, Jack said. They are comfortable, the Emperor replied. Comfort is highly underrated. He sat on the floor with everyone else a year ago. Anyone sitting higher than the Emperor would be executed. Now he preferred the floor because that is where the fun happened. Today marks 6 months, the Emperor announced. 6 months, since humans taught us to live. A young Zalari raised her hand. But we were alive before no Zex. The chef said we were functioning. Before I cooked food that had no taste. Before I heard music that had no soul. Before I knew friendship that had no conditions. Captain Martinez entered with news. The Earth colony ships know we are here. They want to visit. The Emperor smiled. Tell them to come, all of them. But Father Zaira said, our world cannot support so many. Then we expand. The Emperor said, not through war, but through welcome. Build new cities. Build them with playgrounds. Jack had an idea. What if we combined our technologies? Zalari engineering with human creativity. Like what Martinez asked. Like ships that run on hope and actually work. Jack said. Like weapons that shoot joy instead of death. That makes no sense, a Zalari scientist said. Exactly, Jack grinned. The best things never make sense at first. They began working together. Zalari and humans creating things neither could alone. Gardens that grew in space paint, that changed color with emotions. Musical instruments that played feelings instead of notes. Katie and her Zalari friend Vex invented a new game. It combined human tag with Zalari telepathy. You had to catch someone while they tried to confuse you. With mental images, I see a purple elephant. Vex projected. Katie giggled and caught him anyway. Purple elephants are not real. How do you know, he asked, because elephants are gray, silly, but in space anything could be purple. Katie considered this. You are right, space elephants are definitely purple. The adults watch the children create new realities together. No fear of differences. No worry about who was stronger or smarter. Just joy in discovering each other. One day a message came from Earth itself. The governments wanted to know why their colony ship had gone silent, then reappeared with alien technology. The Emperor and Captain Martinez stood before the communication screen together. Earth leaders appeared looking serious and scared. Who speaks? For humanity, they demanded. We all do, Martinez said. But Jack usually says it better. Jack stepped forward, still wearing his maintenance uniform with new Zalari patches added. Earth. This is Jack Coleman. I am here to report that we made friends. The Earth. Leaders looked confused. Friends with the Zalari Empire. They conquered half the galaxy. Yeah, but they never had pizza before. Jack said, now they do. This is not a joke, young man. The future of humanity is at stake. You are right. Jack said, it is not a joke, it is wonderful. The Emperor stepped forward. I am Emperor of the Zalari. We wish to trade. What do you want from Earth? The leaders asked. The Emperor thought, your music, your food, your games, your stories, your ability to find joy in small things. And, what do you offer in return? Everything, the Emperor said. Technology, medicine, space travel. But more importantly, we offer friendship. The Earth leaders discussed among themselves. This seemed too good to be true. Why should we trust you? They asked. Jack answered, because your colony ship Aurora is held together with duct tape and dreams. It should not fly, but it does. That is humanity. We do impossible things through hope. The Zalari recognized this. They realized we had something more valuable than weapons. We had happiness. Send us proof. The Earth leaders demanded. Zaira started a video feed. It showed the Crystal City children of both species playing together. Zalari learning to paint badly. Humans learning to use telepathy worse. Everyone laughing. The Earth leaders watched in amazement. Aliens and humans just being together. How is this possible, they asked. Jack shrugged. We said hello, they said hello back. Everything else just happened. Over the next year, Earth sent more ships. Not warships, but crews. Ships full of teachers and artists and comedians and chefs. The Zalari sent ships too, carrying technology and knowledge and beings eager to learn joy. The first restaurant opened on the Zalari world. Zex cooked while humans served Zalari ingredients. With human recipes, the food was strange but delicious. The first movie theater opened showing human films and Zalari light sculptures. The combination created experiences neither species had imagined. The first school opened where children learned. Together, Zalari memorization skills with human creativity made students who could solve problems in ways that amazed both species. Jack and Zira stood in the observation deck of the Aurora, watching it all happen. "Remember when you first came aboard?" Jack asked. "I was going to destroy you all," she said. "But you did not." "No, because you said, 'Hey, sweetie,' and my whole world changed. Actually, I was just being friendly." "That is the point," Zira said. Friendliness changed everything. The Emperor joined them older, now but happier. He had learned to tell jokes badly. He had learned to lose at games gracefully. He had learned to hug, which was awkward with his height, but he did it anyway. "The galaxy is talking," he said. "Other species want to join us." "Let them," Jack said, "the more the merrier, but some are our enemies," the Emperor warned. "So were you," Zira reminded him. The Emperor laughed, that rusty sound now smooth from practice. "True," he said. "Humans have a saying for this." "What saying?" Jack asked. "The one about killing. With kindness." "That is not what that means," Jack said. "I know," the Emperor replied, "but I like my version better." A child ran up to them. It was Vex, the Zalari boy who played with Katie Uncle Jack. He said, "Aunt Zira, Grandpa Emperor, look what I made." He held up a device that projected solid holograms. You could touch them, feel them, play with them. "This is amazing," Zira said. "How did you think of this?" Katie said, "We needed better toys, so I made one." Vex explained. "Just like that?" the Emperor asked. "Just like that," the boy confirmed. The Emperor picked up the child, something he would never have done before. Humans had taught him that children were treasures, not just future soldiers. "You will change the galaxy, little one," he said. Vex shrugged. "I just want to play with Katie," and that, the Emperor said, is how all change begins. With someone who just wants connection. As the years passed, the Zalari Empire became something new. Not conquerors, but connectors. They helped species find each other, learn from each other, laugh with each other. Jack became the official ambassador of joy. His job was to travel to new worlds and teach them to be silly. Zira went with him. Their friendship never changed, even as everything else did. The Emperor ruled differently now. He held court and gardens instead of throne rooms. He made decisions based on what would bring happiness, not just power. He wore Amy's animal robes to official meetings. Some Zalari never accepted the change. They left to find worlds where strength still meant violence. But most stayed and learned and grew. On the 5th anniversary of First Contact, they held a celebration. Thousands of species came to the Zalari world to share food and music and games. Jack stood before the crowd with Zira and the Emperor 5. "Years ago," he said, "I was just a maintenance engineer fixing pipes. Now I fix friendships." The crowd laughed and cheered. But really, Jack continued, "Humans did not do this. We all did together." Katie, now 13, stood with Vex. They had created a game that beings across the galaxy played, a combination of human imagination and Zalari technology that brought joy to billions. "This is our future," Jack said. "Not human or Zalari, or any single species, but all of us being silly together." The Emperor raised his coffee mug, "A gift from the Aurora crew to friendship," he said. "To joy, to the courage of being weak and the strength of being kind." Everyone raised their drinks and food and tentacles and whatever they had. But most of all, the Emperor said, "To the human," who said, "Hey, sweetie," and the princess, who said, "Yes, darling." The celebration lasted for days. Beings from across the galaxy, sharing what made them unique and finding what made them the same. And in a quiet moment, Jack and Zira stood watching the sunset over the crystal city. The 3 moons rose, casting purple shadows. "Thank you," she said, "for what," Jack asked, "for seeing me Not as an alien princess, but as someone who could be a friend. Jack smiled. You were never just an alien princess. You were always. Zira who learned card tricks. She laughed. That sound like wind chimes, and you were never just a maintenance engineer. You were the human who fixed the galaxy. I had help. Jack said, Yes, darling, she agreed. You had all of us.